Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the Herbert Employer of the Day. We are so glad to have River Valley AgCredit as our employer for this week. And so I'll go ahead and let Jessica introduce herself and tell a little bit about her current role, and then we'll start asking questions.
Okay. All right. So I am Jessica Johnson. I am the Chief Human Resource Officer here at River Valley. I have been with River Valley for a little over 15 years and have served in several different functions, mortgage loan originator, headed up our marketing department for several years, and then have been in HR for the last 5 or so years. So I take care of pretty well the human capital function, as well as our standards of conduct officer and corporate secretary. So.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us today, Jessica. My first question, can you just tell us a little bit about River Valley AgCredit?
Yeah, so we are part of the Farm Credit System, which was established back in 1916. We are a nationwide system. Each association has their own footprint that we service. So we have 8 counties in West Kentucky and 12 counties in East Tennessee that we service. And we do everything ag finance related, any type of operating notes, equipment loans, real estate, and everything in between.
And so some of those primary locations are in Western Kentucky and East Tennessee, you said?
Yes. So we have 8 counties with 7 offices here in West Kentucky. We have 12 counties and 5 offices in Tennessee. And we service pretty well the rural areas of each of our counties.
Thank you. Can you describe the company culture of River Valley AgCredit and why you like working there?
Absolutely. So we are a true cooperative, which allows us some flexibility within our products and services. We're very relationship oriented, anything between our staff and our borrowers, and just the staff themselves. It's very interesting to see generations of farmers grow from generation to generation to continue to do business with River Valley. And so it's very rewarding to see those operations grow and be passed over, from generation to generation and to be a part of that. Or, first time home purchases, things like that. Our people are very passionate about what they do and who we serve. So definitely very rewarding. We're very close knit with both our members and employees, and get to really kind of delve into to each of the operations. And on the employee side, we all work very closely together. So that's very nice and very rewarding.
Awesome. And shifting gears just a little bit, what do you expect from students at virtual recruiting events, and maybe even once we transition back to in-person, what do you expect from them in that capacity as well?
Yeah, so it's been very nice to connect with you all today. Alexis has made it very easy to jump on and just have that casual meeting space. So just like we would in person, just having that ability to connect, introduce each other, and figure out, kind of some interest and if we have any openings or positions that the students might be interested in, and talk about those. So
it sounds like just being very relationship oriented, much like the culture at River Valley AgCredit.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So you mentioned jobs and internships, actually. So what kind of jobs and internships are currently available at River Valley AgCredit, or do you anticipate opening in the near future?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have, each summer, we host 3 types of internships. We have credit, marketing, and accounting interns, and they typically spend the months of June and July with us. A few years ago, we revamped our program. We did, in the past, our interns did a lot of monotonous filing and things like that. And outside of knowing if they knew their ABCs, we didn't really learn a whole lot about them. So we have been very proud of our program the last few years. Each of the department heads for credit, accounting, and marketing have done an excellent job of coming up with a great program for the students to spend the summer with us. It's a great time for them to kind of just test us out and see, if we're something that they're interested in. We call it a good test drive. And we get to see what they're capable of. They have projects that they work on, kind of daily projects, as well as a large project that they work on. And at the end of their internship, they present that to our management team, and we're able to grow and get to know them throughout the summer. They get typically pre-COVID, we have field trips and things like that, and get them engaged with some of our members out on the farm. So that's pretty fun. So we have most of our internships filled. I do have one Tennessee credit internship that I'm looking for, and I can get that link to you, Alexis, and we can get some resumes and things, get some interviews scheduled for that. I also have a loan officer trainee position that we just posted yesterday that will be housed out of our Loudon location. So I can get you that information as well. And we would be glad to talk with some folks that maybe have some, graduation dates coming up, and maybe see what they're interested in there.
Awesome, thank you. So you said you'll send those links so I can share those out so students can certainly easily apply for those internships and full-time positions. So when you were talking about locations earlier, and you mentioned that full-time position was with the Loudon office. And so are those positions primarily location specific, and it'll be very clear in the job description where the student would be ending up for that internship or full-time opportunity?
Absolutely. So each of our positions, when I send you the link, there will be a description for each, and the location is listed for each of those. So they should be able to find all of that information. They will be able to upload their resume online and apply through Balance Track. So fairly easy. It gets their information securely in front of myself as well as the supervisors for those positions.
Awesome. Sounds like some great opportunities. So when students are going to apply for these, what kind of experiences are going to make them a good fit for the internship and full-time position?
So usually kind of depending on the position that they're interested in. We also, I didn't mention, we have a branch assistant position in our Cleveland office that's recently opened as well. And so kind of just depending on which position the person's interested in. Obviously, agriculture is who we are and what we do. So any type of farming or agriculture background, experience, knowledge, that is wonderful. We can teach a lot of things, but that experience is very valuable. When a farmer feels comfortable talking with somebody, financials are a very vulnerable part of someone's life. So feeling comfortable with somebody that knows what inputs go into their operation and things like that, that's always a plus there. Like I've mentioned several times, very relationship oriented. So those folks that can connect easily and don't have a problem, whether the branch assistant that's up front answering the phone or taking payments, things like that, or the loan officer that's meeting with the relationships with those members that are already established, or out prospecting new borrowers as well. So attitude as well goes a long way. So just the willingness to learn. We are very different from a bank and most financial institutions. So a lot to learn and a lot to grasp, but just the willingness and attitude and to be able to learn goes a long way as well.
Awesome. So how should students go about communicating that on a resume? So is there anything that a student should put on their resume that would make it stand out to you all when you're getting applications?
Yes. So as far as ag experience, a lot of times those are previous jobs or clubs, organizations that they've been part of, and they can go into a little bit of detail. Obviously, we like to get into a little more detail in the interview as well. But just letting us know your level of involvement in agriculture or farming, and if you don't have a strong background, that's okay too. We can definitely talk through those things, but most of the time, with the ag majors, they've got pretty strong roots, so it comes out pretty easily in the resume and interview process.
Awesome. So it sounds like you all like to see a variety of experiences listed on their resume. So some of those part-time jobs and student organizations, so students should be clear about what they've been doing outside of the classroom. Would you say that's true?
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you. So my last question today, what piece of advice do you have for students who may be starting to look for, full-time jobs or an internship, in the near future? What advice do you have for them?
Okay. So our internships, as I mentioned, are a great experience for that student to really see if ag finance is something that they're interested in. So far, we've only had one student change their major after interning with us. She decided actually that she was going back to the nursing realm of things. So, it's just a good time without committing to a full-time position that you can kind of dig in and see if this is really for you. And it, like I said, gives us a great experience as well, just to be able to see if you're a good candidate moving forward. Outside of that, if you are casting a broad net, looking for pretty much anything, just kind of open after graduation and things like that, that's wonderful. I would just suggest doing a little background work yourself. Do a little homework before you interview. Go in with good questions. Have a little background knowledge about the company you're talking with. You would be surprised the number of cover letters that I get that are actually addressed to a different company. So I understand, when you're looking, you are definitely, sometimes just, casting that net and trying to reach as many people as possible. And that's definitely okay. But I can't say that it's not a little bit of a turnoff when you see that the letter's not even addressed to you. So just make sure things are tidy before you really delve in there. So just a little bit of some of the things that I've come across along the way.
Yeah, that's great advice on the cover letters. We definitely see that as well. And I should have asked this earlier when you were talking about internships. Is there a normal recruiting cycle for your internship? So for students who might think about doing it next year, when would they expect to see applications?
Okay, so a lot of times our career fairs, we really delve in the fall career fairs, and we typically open our internships for applications late fall, and usually host interviews by the end of the year. COVID has delayed some of that, of course, this year. Like I mentioned, we have filled all of our positions for interns this year with the exception of our credit internship there in Tennessee. So we do still have that one open, but typically those interviews are completed by the end of the year. Our hopes at that point are that the student, we can kind of notify everybody and make offers for the summer so they can go ahead and make plans and everything. So that's a typical schedule, and we hope to be back on that for this next year.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today, Jessica. I've really learned a lot about River Valley AgCredit, and it sounds like there's a lot of great opportunities for our students there, and you provided a lot of great advice that I hope our students will follow. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having us.